Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by. I am so excited for today's video. I feel like it has been a little bit since we've just sat down, hung out, played with a little bit of makeup together. I really feel like it's been a bit since I've just like done a full face of makeup with all of you. I can't wait to try out a few of these things that were sent to me. Quite a bit of what was sent over in PR. I will of course denote that, and I will be giving you my honest thoughts. Only one of these products have I tried, so we are going to be having a few first impressions here. I am just, like I said, I'm just excited to get together, hang out, and play with some makeup. So fall is not here yet, thankfully, but it is coming. And so we're definitely getting some of those fall releases. And you've probably already seen from the thumbnail a few of the things that we're gonna be working with today. So I have to say, it took me a minute to dive into this. Sigma was so generous to send over this beautiful box. I tell you what, I'm always like, because they have so many like rose gold things, I'm just like, what am I gonna do with this box now? I need to keep this box for something. What it's gonna be used for, I don't know. But this is, one of the products in here is the one that I have used already. They sent over their new Skin Perfector Hydrating Tint. So we have two of the shades of tint in here, and then we have the color correcting duo and the soft focus setting powder. So we're going to try all of these today. I have used the tint. I'm really going to be curious to try out the other products in here as well. I've said before in the videos where I've tried Sigma's makeup, I have a couple, some where they sent me some gifts and then some where it's products that I purchased. But I just find that usually I am very pleased with the way that Sigma makeup performs. So we're going to dive into a few more products today, but we do have a new primer to try out. So What's Up Beauty just launched the Posytivity Lightweight Hydrating Face Primer. Look at this. We've got like very coordinating package with this little rose gold accent. So this is a lightweight hydrating face primer, which I think is going to be perfect as we start to move in fall. What I'll do is I'm going to use this on half of the face, and then we'll go ahead and go through with the hydrating skin tint. And What's Up Beauty was kind enough to also send over more of their eye brushes, so I'm excited to add these into my collection. And I actually asked the brand when they were saying that they were going to send over that primer, I was like, is there any way that I could get the Geodes palette? I've been oohing and eyeing over this one for a long time. We're not going to use this one today because we do have another eyeshadow palette to use, but I know that this has been around for a while, but these colors are just so pretty. I think that this is an all year round, I mean, it's muted enough that you get some color in all seasons, and it's got a nice little variety here. So I cannot wait to use this one. So if you have this one, let me know your thoughts on it. I'm definitely going to be digging into this one soon. You know that I've really been doing some more like sheer, soft, colorful looks this season, which is going to be the opposite of what we're going to do today, I have a feeling. Let's get into that. And to top all of that off, we're going to be dipping into some color with the new Nomad palette. So here we have the Fuji 5 Lakes palette. I mean, I just have to take a minute because this outer packaging of this palette, I was saying on their Instagram, like, you just can't see the beauty of this. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. The outside, it's like a painting. Like, I really feel like it's almost like a canvas painting that you would have on your wall. It has this beautiful texture, absolutely lovely. It is quite colorful. It is quite colorful. So we're going to dip into this today. Now, while a lot of times I don't necessarily do swatches of an entire palette, especially because there's a lot of content on this one out already, I haven't touched anything in here. So I do want to get some good first impressions for you, but this is very colorful. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts already, so I'm going to give you those thoughts once we get to the eye makeup portion of this video. I'm going to hold off on my full thoughts of it until after we use it a bit. I'm probably just going to do one look with this. I don't know where I'm going to go yet with it today, so we'll see. So that's some of what we have here. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll pop our primer on. So that's your little sneak peek at some of what we're using today. Of course, I'm going to be needing to bring in some other bits and baubles. I have one more package that's on its way, and I was kind of hoping it would be here. I'm probably going to run out and check my mail at some point, just in case, because of course it would figure that I would do my full face and then realize that I had received something in the mail. But let's go ahead and try on this primer. So what the brand says about this primer is that it is lightweight and fast absorbing, that it has a dewy finish, and it has a water-based milky formula without fragrance or tint. I know a lot of people out there prefer fragrance-free products, so this one's going to be for you. It's silicone-free, non-toxic, cruelty-free, and vegan. They also do say that it is clean, but as I always say, that actually has like no, I don't want to say it has no foundings, but you can just say honestly that anything is clean. So if you have certain ingredients or things that you're looking to not have in products, you just need to do your research on that. And then we also have niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, and vitamin E. So you have the benefit of a few skincare ingredients also added to this. All right, I'm gonna tuck my little piece back here. Y'all, the hair today, I know the hair is not really showing that I actually know how to do hair. Yesterday we had a lake day, and while I didn't like actually fully get into the lake, it was hot and I probably should have like done a refresh on my hair, but I really want to color my hair tonight and I will do whatever I can to not wash my hair 2 days in a row. I will basically do whatever I can to just not wash my hair at all other than when it's really needed. So I was like, we're just gonna throw it up and that's gonna be it for today. So please excuse me. All right, so I'm just taking a little bit of the primer. It definitely is fragrance free and it really doesn't have a strong scent at all. You know, sometimes things that don't have fragrance still have a smell. I'm not really getting much from this. And of course they say that you can wear this under makeup or that you could also use it just for like a little bit of a dewy finish on no makeup days. It feels really nice. I'm gonna take just a little bit more. Sometimes you just never know like how far a product's gonna go. Oh, I just realized I was going to use this on one half of the face and not on the other. Oh, shoot. See, this is why I'm glad that I used the Sigma Skin Tint before, because I can tell you at the end of the day what the difference was, like if I noticed much of a difference, because I have worn the Sigma. I wore it for a really long day at work, actually, so I definitely have some thoughts. Okay, perfect. We're gonna let that sit for a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm really liking the finish of this. I like that it's not overly dewy. I have to be honest, I like a good glow, but you know, right now in the summertime especially, even though I have dry skin in the wintertime, in the summer, like my T-zone can get shiny pretty quickly, and I just don't like to feel like overly dewy. And since we're going in with a skin tint, I know we're already gonna have a bit of hydration added, so I think this is really nice. I definitely think it gives, it doesn't say that it's blurring, but I feel like it just is refining a little bit. It's very nice. This, by the way, how big is this guy here? It's 30 milliliters, so you have a full fluid ounce, and it's $31. And it is available now, so I will make sure to have it linked down below. So thanks again to What's Up Beauty. We're gonna see how this works with that skin tint. So Sigma sent over 2 of the 6 shades for me to try. We have shade 2 and 3. There are 6 shades. And I have to say, for 6 shades, I feel like the variety of value in here, like as far as like depth, is pretty good. They did send over, you probably won't be able to see this. I'm gonna try to find the image online so that you can see the different range for different skin tones. The only thing is within 6, what I'm finding here is that you have a beige, which to me looks to be cooler, and then you have a golden, which obviously is a little bit more warm. So I will tell you right now that shade 3 is a pretty darn good match for me. It's not flawless, but it's a close range. So I'm just going to go ahead and I will swatch both for you. Now I will say, especially this summer, because I've definitely gotten a bit more color. My olive undertones really start to come through. I feel like shade 3 is honestly going to be the shade that I would personally want for both summer and winter, because it is, it's just not quite as golden as what I would like. So clearly this is shade 2 and this one is shade 3. So I just feel like shade 2 is not only too light for me, even in the, I mean, maybe in the dead of winter, but it also is a bit more cool toned to me. So, and honestly, even, you'll see when I get it on. I don't feel like this golden tone is truly golden. I would say it's actually more like neutral. So I would be curious to see the next one up, but I just feel like it was going to be too dark. However, it's sheer, so we can work with a sheer product, right? All right, I just popped a little bit of this on and I'm going to zoom you in here because I just realized that to be able to see the skin, you're gonna wanna be a little bit closer. So I'm going to blend in one side. I just have a bit on. I'm not really needing a lot here. My skin's actually surprisingly been doing pretty well. And I will say that I found, for the amount of product that I used the day that I wore this last, I was surprised with the blurring or like bit of finishing that this gave the skin. You know, I was like, oh wow, for not a lot of product, I felt like it did a nice job just sort of adding a bit to the face. Let me just brighten that a little bit. I'm going to use just a smidge more right here where I've got some of that pigmentation. Okay, so you can see here, it's just, you know, a bit of the unevenness. I even feel like my under eye looks a little bit brighter. I could absolutely see. In fact, I think there was one day that I did that. I just like whisked it on and really didn't have much else on. I probably put on my brow gel, threw on some mascara, and this was it. But I did do it with a full face of makeup one day at the salon and had it on for a full 10 hours. So again, you can see there. I'm gonna go ahead and blend in this other side. So just kind of looking at the card that came in here. This product is also available, by the way. Now, I am an affiliate with Sigma, so I will have my affiliate link down below if you'd like to check this one out, and my discount code KEEPBEAUTYREAL can save you some money on all your Sigma. So the brand says that this has a hydrating boost of moisturizer and a lightweight buildable coverage of a liquid foundation. So they say that you can take this from sheer up to medium. You know, sometimes I feel like these tints have claims that are a little bit high, but I honestly feel like you could probably get this, if not quite to medium, almost there. But it also isn't so pigmented that sometimes when something is really pigmented, even if you just try to use a little bit, it just doesn't blend out enough. But I don't find that with this at all. It's really pretty. So it has ingredients like hyaluronic acid, vitamin E, squalane, and niacinamide, which is funny because that's a lot of what's in the Posytivity primer as well. And they say that it gives a dewy, natural looking finish. Again, I don't think that this, we have two products that are saying that they're very dewy, but I don't really think that this is super dewy. It's just that beautiful, very hydrated skin. It's not, when I think dewy, I think almost a little bit glossy, you know, like that little bit of extra sheen. And I don't get that from this. I just get hydrated, healthy skin. I'm really liking this. Now with this product, you get 1.12 fluid ounces and it is $39 at full price. Again, you can use my discount code if you would like. This is just, it's so pretty. I'm really liking the finish of this. Okay, so I think I'm going to be brave and finish the rest of my makeup before we do the eyes. That means that we're gonna go through and use the other two products that Sigma sent over. They sent over their soft focus setting powder in the shade Buttermilk. It's the second of 4 shades. We'll see how this goes. I'm always a little bit scared of tinted powders because sometimes they just really kind of throw everything off. But we're gonna give this a go. And then we have this little duo here of color corrector. So let's go ahead and dab on a little bit of this color corrector. Which set do I have? I have the medium to dark. That's really interesting that they sent some of the lighter sided products and then the medium to dark under eye. That's fine. What we're gonna have to do is, which I was planning on anyway, this is going to be, I'm just using the light side. I'm going to use this underneath my concealer. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this in that area that I have darkness, and then we'll pop some concealer over the top. Now, before, when I used this skin tint, I set it with my RMS Hydra Setting Powder. So I'll definitely be able to give you a bit of a difference between the two. Now that product is actually also a tinted powder, but I do find that it's like the perfect shade for me for the summertime. So we will see how this one goes. The one thing about this being a bit deeper shade is the color is going to be a bit more concentrated to really counteract any darkness that I have. And I mean, I guess when it's lighter, then I almost feel like I need to use a fairly light concealer to be able to brighten everything up and kind of like match what I put on as far as the color corrector. So I'm not too mad that it's a deeper shade, but I will never use that darker side. So it's a bit of a miss for me, but that's not that big of a deal. So for concealer, just to keep it with something that I know how I feel about, let's go through with the Haus Labs concealer. I have the shade 13 Light Neutral here. I also have the golden one, but I feel like for today, this neutral shade is probably going to be what sort of matches the rest of what we've got going on. And you know me, I'm going to put the smallest amount on my lid just as a little bit of a primer. I'm going to blend that out. I'll be right back and we can set this. All right, so Concealer is on. Again, I just used the tiniest bit, and that's really the only place that I put it. I have not really been bothering to conceal breakouts or anything like that. I've just been going through and doing my under eye, and that's about it. So I'm just taking the tiniest amount of the setting powder first under the eye and over the lid, just to kind of see. I'm always a little bit nervous when I'm using a tinted setting powder over an emollient area, because sometimes it can actually like really darken up, and then you look darker than you really want. But that actually did a good job. I would say that it's not like overly matte, but it doesn't have any luminosity to it either. So I think I'm gonna just do a light bit over this entire side of my face so that we can see the difference. I was worried that this was gonna be a little too peachy toned, but it's not too bad. I haven't been getting a ton of sun recently. Actually, like I said, we were out at the lake yesterday. That's probably the most sun that I've seen in quite a while. I just haven't had the time to get out, or the weather has just been too something else that I couldn't really go outside much. Okay, so this is unset. This is set. It definitely like knocked down the glow a little bit, but it's not matte. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm pretty happy with this actually. I'm gonna check the price on this powder, hold on. Okay, so I just looked and it's $32 for the setting powder, which I would say that's probably a pretty going rate anymore these days. It's pretty. Powders have come a long way, I will say. They've come a long way. I mean, there were a lot of times there where I was like, just keep that away from me because they just were too much, but this has a nice soft finish to it. It isn't overly chalky. I really like it. The only thing is it doesn't have a cover for the sifter, which means, you know, if you like to store these types of things on their side, if you travel with them, you'll probably end up with a lot in the upper well just from it shaking around. Okay, so I was trying to decide on what to do, what to finish my face out with, but then as I was going through my drawer, like looking blushes, bronzers, all the things, I have not used my Hourglass Tiger palette yet this summer. So this is the time to use it, right? Like, hello, Kelly. It is 3 weeks into August here. If not now, when? So I think what I'm going to end up doing is just a combination of maybe going through with this bronzer and then just a bit of this guy here. I don't know. We're going to have to see. I'm a little bit scared. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. Okay, now I need a brush that's small enough here. So I'm taking the Larifay F21. This might, I mean, I think I've only used this palette a handful of times, a handful. So I'm just going to be very, very delicate here. So do you have this one? Did you pick it up? You loved the cover, you loved the colors, and then have you been using it this summer? I don't know what Jet's hearing. Jet's like, Mom, use that makeup more. Okay, that's actually not too bad. Thank you, Larifay, for having this beautiful brush that's small enough to fit into the well and fluffy enough that it's not going to wreak havoc and make me way too dark. Yeah, that's actually working. Okay, I think I'm actually just going to use the same brush and we'll go through. So it says it's a strobe powder, which is that going to get like super, super shiny? I see that it's got more of a like shimmer vein running through it. We can just go for like a little bit bronze goddessy vibe today. Who's ready for fall makeup? I am not quite there yet. I still want my bright, bright cheeks, some bronzer. I'm going to be living the summer makeup for the next month, probably. I don't know. We'll see. Like, that's pretty. It's, oh, it is definitely glowy, but it's pretty. I kind of want to take just, I'm scared, y'all. I'm scared. Oh, I'm going to take a little bit of this. I'm going to just take a smidge. Ooh. I just actually sometimes will like work it into the bristles on the mirror. Okay, that's good. But yeah, I'm just enjoying summer bright cheeks. I mean, once we get into fall, I feel like it's more like moody vibes. So like berries, mauves. So I should get out all my corals and my oranges now. But you know, I was in a pink vibe. I was in a pink vibe for a while there. I definitely didn't do as many warm looks as usual in the summer. Okay, I really need to figure out what to do here. So Jeremy and I, the other night, we went to see It Ends With Us. And of course, as a hairdresser, I just could not stop looking at Blake Lively's hair. It was so cute, just like kind of wild, tousled. She has such great hair. And she just was so good at like bringing, well, clearly she did not do this herself. Her hairdresser was very good at just like bringing down a few pieces, making it look like carefree, didn't try too hard. I guess if I had gone through and smoothed these pieces a little bit, by the way, I'm not gonna lie, I literally just had to do that several times because smoothed is a hard word to say right now with my Invisalign. But these just got a little wavy wonky on our hot lake walk. We walked about 5 miles at the lake, and then of course took Jet romping around in the water. So I definitely had a little bit of reversion of my curl, but that's fun. Here we have the final complexion look. I did take some time to just fill in my eyebrows. I planned on doing the least, and then this side got a little like big, and so then I just had to do them both fairly big, but it's fine, it's fine. I did go through, by the way, and I used the Sydney Grace brow gel. This is just the clear one that came in my mystery bag. I'm not so sure how I feel about this. Like, I feel like if you just need a little bit of something, this would be fine. I feel like it's not quite enough for me. So what I would love to know is for those of you that got, because I got the regular hold, if you got the firm hold, let me know what you think of it. I like the size of the brush. I like that it's small. It's just the hold is just not quite where it's at for me, but I like a lot of hold. So I would love to know. It's just a shout out to anybody who got a mystery bag that had the firm hold in it, because I know that there were some. All right, now let's go ahead and we are going to talk eyeshadow. We're going to talk eyeshadow. So the Nomad Fuji 5 Lakes palette. Now, if you know me, you probably already know that this color story is it's a little out of my wheelhouse for my makeup preferences right now. I'm just going to turn this down just a smidge because I just haven't been doing a lot of colorful makeup. The other thing is clearly we have 6 bluish shades in here, which is a shade that I tend to stray away from. I will say these 2 deeper mattes are something that I could get into a little bit. The other ones, I'm not so sure. I haven't swatched anything yet. I do want to say, let me just turn this. We all love the embossing in these palettes. I know that, you know, we're not going to buy something for embossing because it's going to go away the minute that you touch it, but the embossing is just always so cute. So here is my thing when I look at this. You have some reds here, obviously, and then you have blues and you have yellows. So essentially we're working with a set of primary shadows. The only thing here is if you are like me and you like a very blendy eyeshadow look, right? That means that when you are mixing these colors, you're going to be layering them a bit and creating new shades. So in the situation where you're going to mix reds, this is just color theory 101, right? So I feel like I'm a little bit dark right now. I just can't get the light right, y'all. I can't get the light right. Sometimes I think it's my viewfinder because sometimes like, gosh, it's so dark. And then I watch the video and I'm like, it actually wasn't that dark, but color theory. Okay, so if you are mixing reds with blues, you're going to get something a little bit more on the purpley side. These blues, to me, look like they have a bit of green to them, which then means you're mixing red and green, which means you're going to get browns. So anytime you cross the color wheel, you're essentially neutralizing those shades. So you're going to end up, and it isn't necessarily bad, brown's not bad, but oftentimes it will come out looking muddy. So then you have yellows and then you've got these blues. So if you're trying to blend those together, you're going to get greeny. That's not necessarily everybody's vibe. And, you know, I think that you can obviously mix these reds and these yellows and create a bit of a orangey look. But the thing is like when I look at this has almost like a bit of a purpley undertone to this red. And if you're mixing it with yellow, you're going to get, again, if we're talking about violet and yellow, then we're getting brown again. I'm just concerned for the blendy lovers like myself that this can lean into a bit of muddy danger. Or like mixing into like, oh, that's not what I wanted at all. So clearly the safest way to stay away from that is to stick more monochromatic, but that would be super boring. You know, for a lot of people, they're not just going to do one or the other. We just don't also have really many grounding tones. You have this one sort of cool toned matte here. Actually, I love this shade. It's very pretty. And then, you know, I mean, technically you could consider this a little bit more of like a grounding neutralish shade. I also feel like two of these are going to be topper shades just from looking. So those are some of my first impressions here. I'm just like, okay, this is a color story that we haven't really been seeing. So I will give the brand props for that. I also understand, I mean, if you look here and this is the inspiration, that autumnal, you know, beautiful leaf with the colors of the water. I get the vibe. I just also don't see, half of this palette really isn't fall to me. But also, if you think of Hudson Valley, we needed something a little different than that, you know? So I'm just gonna wait and see how I feel about the swatches, and we'll do an eye look together. I just had to give my first impressions. Okay, swatches. So, I mean, we've got some pretty shades in here. We definitely do. You know that I love my yellows, right? I think that all of these are very pretty. This creamy yellow is right up my vibe right now for summer. And these toppers, I mean, they're both very pretty, but they are definitely going to be topper shades. I almost feel like this yellow right here, again, is pretty much kind of a topper shade. Like I would want a base underneath that. We have some pretty ones. We do. I mean, we definitely get some beautiful tone out of these mattes, but here's what I was saying. I'm going to see, because I'm not going to do it on my eyes today for all of you. Sorry, I'm not taking one for the team. But here's what I'm thinking with some of these. So if we take, I'm going to just take this blue here. This is this darker shade, and let's go ahead and blend a little bit right here. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't because I'm not quite close enough. So am I zoomed in all the way? Yes. So I'm starting to get over here a bit greeny. It's starting to turn a little greeny, a little like day old bruisey, a bit. That starts to get a bit concerning to me. I mean, you can probably see right on the brush. Hopefully it's getting a bit green. So that's the type of thing. Oh, why did I do it like that? I could have done it this way. This will be a lot easier. I was like, I'm making this so hard on myself. So yeah, it starts to get this like weird murky green thing. That is the dark blue though, by the way. I'm having a hard time blending it right there. So this is what I'm saying. Like sometimes when you go in here, you're gonna have to be a little bit more cautious. I don't know why, but every time I film, the loudness always starts happening. Now the garbage trucks are here. But this is what I was saying is you're really going to have to be aware of what you are layering together as you're blending through. You're going to start getting other tones. So just keep that in mind. That being said, we're going to create a look today. I really want to create something kind of warm, toasty. So I'm going to try to mix and match some of these. We'll see what we end up with. So for this, I think I'm just gonna go through and pop some music in here. I'm just gonna play a little bit. I'll give you my thoughts at the end of how things go, and I'll show you the shades that I'm using.
I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So
All right, here we have our final look. I have to say, I'm feeling a bit of a Katniss Everdeen at the Capitol kind of vibes here. It's definitely very fiery. It's really pretty. As you saw, I took that red shimmer. I'm not going to know the names in here. Fiery Maple. And I put that all over pretty much. And then I topped it with that Golden Ginkgo shade. So this shade here has a bit of a blue flip to it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So it definitely got brought out when I layered it over the top of that red. And then when I popped it on the inner corner, it looks more golden again. So that's going to be kind of fun to get to play with as you're layering. But I found with both of these shades, as I did in the one that I used from the Florida Keys palette, that it takes quite a bit to build it up to opacity. Like to have it really not show any skin underneath. As I was going through and I did that Fiery Maple shade and did all the mattes and everything, I went back at the very end and put that back on, tried to pack it back on the lid on the outside because I was feeling like I was seeing skin. And especially with like really bright tones, I don't really love that. There is a time and a place for a beautiful translucent shadow, but I don't think that when you're doing that, you're gonna have like really colorful mattes in the crease. You know what I mean? It's just sort of like, it looks like some of your eyeshadow got rubbed off. So I feel like the next time I use some of these shimmers, I will probably use a glitter glue just to see if I can get a more opaque coverage. So other than that, the mattes blended really beautifully. I mean, these are shades that are all gonna blend really well, which is my vibe. It's my vibe. I could have tried to challenge myself and do more with these contrasting shades, but I didn't really want to do that. That wouldn't be something that I would normally do. If you want to do the blues and the yellows or even the reds and the blues and you're not wanting to mix shades, you just really need to delicately go through and with a smaller brush and try. You know, a lot of times we're like, oh, I'm gonna put something through my entire crease and blend it up into the transition and then layer something over the top of that. Rather than doing that, I would suggest that you build from the lid and go upwards. So then that way you're not building color over one another. You can just at the very edge, like here, I would work in from shimmers into that burgundy and then from that burgundy into the more orangey shade and then move into that buttery yellow at the very edge. At least that's the way that I would do it if I was using other colors. So if I, for instance, wanted to use this Mount Hoy, I don't know if that's pronounced right, I would use this and then work my transition shade very delicately. So personally, that's the way that I would work it, is rather than like layering them all over each other, build them up one at a time and very gently just like blur at that edge, just so you get less of that potential for muddiness. You'll have to let me know your thoughts on this one. Is it something that you're interested in? If it is, you can use the code KEEPBEAUTYREAL. I think I'm going to enjoy exploring this. This is not one that I would personally have picked up just because we very clearly have quite a bit of blue in here, which I don't usually lean into. Although I do have to say this blue, this sparkly one down here is actually quite pretty, but this one right here, I would probably never reach for that. So, you know, I got to play with this one a little bit. I think that the packaging is so beautiful. Very clearly you can get autumnal looks from this. It just really depends on your vibe. Stay tuned. I will probably be giving an update in the future on this one. I just need to play with it a little bit more. This probably comes down to more of a color preference. Everything that I used performed really well, other than the fact that, like I said, I did have to build up the shimmers just a little bit, but I did like the layering experience there. It's almost like peachy, which is what I was expecting, with that blue flip over the top that was brought out by having that other shade underneath. Okay, enough rambling on color theory and blending, Kelly. Let's go through with lips. So I'm gonna go through with one of the RMS Legendary Serum lipsticks. I pulled out the shade Audrey. There's another one that I have that I would have liked to have popped on with this. I can't find her, she's probably at the salon. The other day I wore Linda and I was sharing it in my stories, and RMS reached out to me because I was talking about the new nude shades that they have, and they offered to send me some, which is really great. So I'm waiting on those. I was hoping that they would come because I thought a nude would work really well with this, but they aren't here yet. So stay tuned. I'll probably do a short or a reel or something like that. We're gonna pop Linda. Nope, we're not popping Linda on, we're popping Audrey on. And I'm gonna use it the same way that I used Linda the other day. basically more as a stain than as a full-on lipstick, just because this is such a colorful eye look. I don't want anything too bright. And this, because of this beautifully thin formula, it's hydrating while not being overly shiny, go everywhere. You know, it kind of gives you the best of everything, and I love this formula, so I'm really excited to try the nudes. I'm just gonna take this on a lip brush, outline, and then just very gently blot some in the middle, and then you can see the final result. Okay, this is so pretty. I really like this. Let me zoom out just a little bit more so you can get the final feel. By the way, I did also use a bit of the Urban Decay All Nighter spray. For me, that is not necessarily cheating for a wear test because I use it basically every day. Like, there's not a day that goes by that I don't use a setting spray usually if I have on makeup. But this Audrey shade is so pretty. So if you wear it in full opacity, you're going to get, it's like a soft neutralized red, I would say, like a warmer base. But if you sheer this out a lot, like clearly today I have it on almost like this very light stain, right? And it just gives a softness and I would say a little like carefree vibe to a strong color. So I really like this. I cannot wait to try the nudes. As I said, this, by the way, was gifted to me. Linda, I purchased, and then the brand, I didn't even know they were sending any. I got a few in the mail, which was super exciting because I really do like this formula. And I think that this whole look really turned out well. So I will be able to come back and give you an update. Tonight we have Jet's final puppy training, so he'll be graduating tonight. And then I'll come home at the end of the night and be able to give you a look at how everything is. We'll see if I felt like the primer made a difference. I will say that when I wore this that full day at work, I was very impressed. And again, I wore that with the Hydro Setting Powder, and I honestly felt like my skin looked so great even after a long day. I felt like I still had a decent amount of coverage. It hadn't worn off patchy. It still felt like a relatively satin but glowy skin finish, which I really enjoy. So I'll be curious to see how I feel if there's a difference with the Posytivity primer from What's Up Beauty, or if just using that Sigma powder makes a difference. But so far, so good. I don't think, where is the little guy here? I have a feeling, especially because this is a bit deeper, this is not going to be something that I reach for a lot. I feel like there are a lot of color correctors out there. I didn't feel like there's anything special about this one. And, with the two in here, I just feel like most of us really only ever need one. We usually only need one color corrector. The other one I will never use for anything. So this was probably the only item that I was like, I'm just not feeling aligned with it. So far the powder is looking very nice. So I'll definitely give you my thoughts. You'll have to let me know what you think. Is there something you'd like to see me do with the Nomad Fuji palette? Let me know if you want to see me dip into some of these blues. If you want to see me try to use a few of these together, let me know, and maybe I will do a look on my Instagram. All right, is there anything else that I need to give you guys a little update on? I don't think so. I think we're good. I will give you that little wear test update at the end here, but thank you for hanging out with me for this makeup play date. If you have any questions about any of these items, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I will make sure to have everything linked in the description for you. And thank you to the brands that sent items over for today's play date. Again, even if things are sent in PR, you all know that I am going to keep it real here. Some of this comes down to personal preference, but if I feel like there's something where it's like formula hit or miss, I would definitely let you know. I'll keep you updated in the future. So for now, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you had a great one. Please don't forget to like this video on your way out if you did enjoy it, and I will see you really soon. All right, so it just never fails. Every time I say I'm gonna do a check-in, I basically forget. And then it's late, or maybe Jeremy and I were watching something on the television and I forget and I'm touching my face, which is exactly what happened, but I still came back. So it's 10:45 right now. I am gonna check on my phone. I took a couple pictures and I should check the timestamps just to make sure. So I got done with my makeup around 1 o'clock. So we are almost 10 hours in. So again, I'm sure I've been touching my face. We had Jet's last class, like I mentioned, so I was literally running around outside. I mean, I wasn't getting super sweaty, but we were outside. I was running around a little bit purposely. I wasn't trying to like chase him down. It was a game that we were playing. So it's definitely been put through the ringer today, and I think it still actually looks pretty good. Just like looking up close, like I said, a lot of it has worn off at this point, but it doesn't look patchy. It doesn't look weird. I still feel like I have a little bit of coverage. yeah, I mean, I feel like everything looks pretty good. I did powder this once. No, I didn't even necessarily powder it. I took the brush that I used before and just used whatever was on there to almost like blot it, because I was doing another video later in the day. That's why I did it. But other than that, I really haven't done anything. I do think that the Posytivity primer did make this a little bit more glowy sooner. I also feel like I noticed, now granted, I have probably been rubbing my eyes, but I have some significant creasing in my eye makeup, and I did rub that onto my eyes. So I don't usually find that with the Nomad Cosmetics palettes all that often. I did use a concealer that I usually like and use, so I'm thinking it might be the primer, which totally makes sense. It's more hydrating, it's more glowy. I'll just have to avoid the eye area. So that would just be the only thing for longevity's sake. Other than that, things are good. So I hope that that little check-in is helpful to you. If you're curious about the wear time of this, I really do like this product. I will probably wear it with my normal moisturizer and not necessarily with a hydrating primer, because this is hydrating on its own. I didn't find that I got like overly glowy or anything, but I just think that this is great on its own. I do wish that it came in more shades. I think for the ones that they started with, like I said, at least it was weighed out a little bit across the spectrum rather than like loaded up and only having one deeper shade. But I wish it came in more with different undertones. Hopefully in the future, I definitely give my stamp of approval to this product. And again, I'll have to play with the Nomad palette a little bit more. If there is a combination that you'd like to see, let me know, and maybe I'll post something on my Instagram. Make sure you follow me there at KeepBeautyReal. That's gonna be it for now. I'll see you really soon.